What's up, Bills Mafia? My name is Devin Long, and you are now tuned in for the Down South Bills podcast. Please like, share, and subscribe, and thanks in advance for checking out the pod. Today, I'll be talking about the Bills versus the AFC contenders, how the Bills match up versus the AFC's best, and who could potentially beat them in January. So, for my opening thought, I want to say where the Bills can still improve. We're getting healthy at the right time. Josh Palmer coming back, he's one of the best separators in the league, so that'll really open up our passing game, which I know people are excited to see. Daquan Jones returning is massive for our run defense and our interior pressure, and TJ Sanders is also pivotal for that D-line depth that is now missing Michael Hoyt and Ed Oliver. And then back to the offense, Gabe Davis. I really want to see him integrated more. He's someone that Josh Allen trusts and just really gives another reliable option on the outside. I think the reason we got rid of Gabe Davis in the first place was just because of money. I don't think we wanted to get rid of Gabe Davis. It was really just we didn't want to overpay him. But now getting him back on a practice squad contract, you can't really beat it. He didn't really underperform or anything at the Bills. It was only just because people expected him to be a wide receiver too. And he's more like a wide receiver 3, but he's definitely someone that Josh Allen trusts. So I'm really excited to see if we can get him integrated a little bit and see what he can do out there on the field. As far as defensive adjustments, less Trey White. With Christian Benford coming back and Maxwell Harrison starting the full game last game, I fully expect the starters to be Maxwell Harrison and Christian Benford, and then Teron Johnson and Trey White being that third corner off the bench, and maybe even being someone who doesn't dress on game day because he doesn't play special teams. So less Trey White, I think, will be very much a good thing for this defense because of speed and just the way that we're currently built. We need that speed to be able to keep up with some of the high-powered offenses in the AFC. And then continuing to platoon Poyer and Hancock. I think that should be permanent. Poyer stays fresh, and then we keep speed on the field in passing situations with Hancock. I think Hancock is ready to play some meaningful snaps after showing what he has in the past couple of games, so I think that is something that I'm really excited about. And with that being said, let's get into who are the real AFC contenders. For me, I think Tier 1 is still Baltimore, Kansas City, and Buffalo. I think you can never count out Mahomes even in a somewhat down year. I think the defense is still championship caliber. And I think the Bills have historically played the Chiefs well, but as everyone knows, the Chiefs have gotten our number in the playoffs. So I think the Chiefs are a really, really strong contender in the AFC against the Bills. I also think the Baltimore Ravens, despite their record, I think with Lamar coming back and playing well, I think the Ravens are physically one of the toughest teams in the conference. Lamar plus Derrick Henry is a matchup problem for almost everyone, especially our defense, who tends to give up a little bit against the run. And so their defense is fast and disciplined. We all know they have Kyle Hamilton and a lot of guys who can really fly around. And I know that the Bills can beat them, but we have to do it in the trenches. And then I have Tier 2 of the good, but not quite there in my opinion, and that's the New England Patriots, the Indianapolis Colts, the Denver Broncos, and the Los Angeles Chargers. So for the New England Patriots, I think they have the best coach in the AFC East. I think Mike Vrabel is an excellent coach, but I do think that they're about a year away. They have losses to the Raiders and the Steelers, and I think that their championship ceiling isn't necessarily there, but I think that they can possibly win a playoff game, and they may have the first round by the way things are shaping out right now. So I think the win over Buffalo is valid, but I think that's a divisional game, and they snuck it out because the Bills weren't expecting them to be that good with losses to, as I said, the Raiders and the Steelers. And then it's a signature win against the Bucs, but Tampa Bay is severely banged up. And then getting to the Indianapolis Colts, it really just comes down to me not trusting Daniel Jones. I really like almost their entire roster outside of him, but when you stack the box and try to stop Jonathan Taylor, you've seen it this year against the Rams, and I think that was against the Steelers where they lost. Those teams said, hey, we're not going to let Jonathan Taylor beat us. We're going to put 8-9 guys in the box, and we're going to make Daniel Jones throw the ball, and he's just proven time and time again that he cannot do that. And so I think that when defenses in the playoffs really scheme against that team, I think they're going to say, hey, Jonathan Taylor, I don't care what Daniel Jones does. Jonathan Taylor. We're gonna have 8 guys in the box. We're gonna have to run in those money boxes and try to get 1 or 2 yards. But we're gonna make Daniel Jones beat us, and we're just gonna have to see if he can do that. I don't think that he can, but I mean they bet on him with the Sauce Gardner trade, giving up their next 2 first-round picks for the next 2 years. So I mean we'll see. But defense is solid. Their defense is definitely solid, but I don't think it's good enough to overcome QB limitations. I think they overpaid for Sauce Gardner. He's a player who doesn't catch interceptions. He leads the league in defensive pass interferences for the past 2 years, and he's fifth in defensive holding. So I don't know what made them give up 2 first-rounders. I think he's definitely worth a first-rounder, maybe a second-rounder, but I think that was a massive overpay, especially giving up A.D. Mitchell, who's someone who has drop issues, but I mean he can really get open. And I mean he got open against those. I mean he got open on Sauce Gardner when they played against the Jets. So I mean I don't think that was a great trade, and I really don't trust the Indianapolis Colts deep in the playoffs. Could I be wrong about all this? Absolutely, but this is just my opinion based on film watching and the statistics and the players' tendencies. So just take with that as you may. And then the Denver Broncos, I think they're definitely trending upward. I like their coaching. They have young pieces on offense, and their defense definitely looks legit. But I still think, just like the Patriots, they're 1 year away. I think they're just not polished enough to hang with the elite teams for 4 quarters in January. And then the Los Angeles Chargers, just too injured. They have offensive line injuries. They have running back injuries. When they're healthy, I think they really can be a problem. But sometimes even when they are healthy, they have problems with consistency. So I don't really trust the Chargers right now either. So big contenders for the AFC, I still think are the Chiefs, the Ravens, and the Bills. You can say I'm living in the past, but until those teams show us that they're not going to be the last ones remaining in January, I'm still going to trust that that's who it's going to be. And then so how will the Bills match up with these AFC teams? I think when the Bills are healthy, we're one of the most balanced teams in the conference. I mean, we really have depth at spots all across the team. People love to say that our wide receiver core does not have a number one, but I mean Gabe Davis is like our wide receiver 8. That has to be super deep. Like people have to understand depth and like people getting injured. So if someone gets hurt, we can bring in Gabe Davis, who is our 8th receiver. So I think just having that depth, and then Brandon Beane also drafting a lot of depth on the defense. We do have a lot of defensive injuries on the D line right now, but I think just because we invested so much in the D line, it's kind of gonna not necessarily make up for that, because you can't make up for Ed Oliver, who was I think having an All-Pro season, and definitely not Michael Hoyt, who was really giving some juice to this defense. But I think we just signed Morgan Fox, who I think had 3.5 sacks last year, 5.5 the year before. So I think he's going to kind of take on that Michael Hoyt role and give us a lot of depth on that D-line as well. But I just think we have an elite quarterback. We have a really strong run game with James Cook, and we have an improving wide receiver room with Josh Palmer coming back from injury and hopefully getting Kincaid back, who is our leading receiver at the tight end spot in a couple weeks. And so I think we're really geared to beat anyone. I think some of our matchup problems are the Ravens, the Chiefs. I think we could even have matchup problems with the Indianapolis Colts run game, but I think our coaches are smart enough to know that Daniel Jones can't beat us, and that we're just going to fill the box and play 3-4 linebackers at a time and just say, hey, Daniel Jones, if you're going to beat us, then come and show us that you can do that, buddy. And then final take, I think the Chiefs and the Ravens have a true path to beat the Bills. I don't think anyone else would scare me in the playoffs. I could be wrong. Could I be wrong? Absolutely. But I just think that those teams, despite their records, despite everything that's going on, I think those are still the teams to be reckoned with in the AFC. And so I continue to hope that the Bills get healthy, and I just hope that we continue to get better with the scheme. I hope Joe Brady continues to understand that we have James Cook that he can run the ball with even when we're down a score or two, and also pass the ball to. I think that we can really continue to utilize passing to the running backs, which really opens up our offense. And then, as I said, get healthy at the wide receiver spot, and also try Gabe Davis in there a little bit. And so that's all for the pod. Thanks again if you made it to the end, and please like, share, and subscribe, and go Bills.